It is Monday, January 13th, 2025. This is another offseason edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, along for the ride as well. As you can tell, people, Plouffe is not in his regular setup. You don't have to give us exact locale, but let us know. Everything good? Are you safe? Where are you?
Everything is good. My house is good. Family's safe. That was the most important thing. We got out of LA. We're in Arizona.
Hmm.
Came out here, rented a house, and going to the Rams game tonight. You know that,
Yeah.
Chris. So very excited about that. But yeah, we're safe. House is good. We're some of the fortunate ones because, as you know, you're living in it right now.
Mhm.
A lot of people lost property, and it's been crazy.
It has been horrible. We're just happy that you're well. Friday after the show, fire got within 1.5 miles of our place. We never hit not even a mandatory evacuation. I'm talking about a watch. There's like different apps that tell you.
Evacuation warning is
Yeah,
before the mandatory. Yeah.
yeah. So we didn't even hit that zone. We were one zone away.
Interesting.
But I would say half our neighborhood left. We stuck around, but we've been ready to go for a week. So
Yeah.
hopefully we won't need it. Unfortunately, these winds are supposed to kick up over the next 48 hours. The firefighters, first responders have done an amazing, amazing, amazing job.
Amazing.
And they're going to need to continue to do that throughout the balance of this week. But we appreciate everybody's support and everybody thinking of our friends and family out here in Southern California as well.
Yes, thanks, Katie, for filling in for me. Thank you. As always.
She always does an amazing job.
And people are like, wait, keep Katie on, kick Trevor off. I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, it's okay.
Not happening.
Well, no, it's not, because we love you too. You know that. We love you. We need to reaffirm Trevor. So everybody reaffirm Trevor in the comments section, please.
I need it. Also, shout out. It was my 12-year anniversary yesterday. So
yes. That'll wait to you and your amazing bride.
She's amazing. She's over here. She's doing some cricket stuff.
What? Oh, what is she doing? A short for Jimmy?
No, not that kind of cricket.
Okay.
She's making shirts for the game tonight.
Oh, okay. Got it. Different cricket. All right, let's get it going with news that could happen. We are hopeful by the middle of the week. Roki Sasaki expected to sign maybe by the middle of the week. That's when the signing period officially opens up. I believe it's on Wednesday. Are you taking the Dodgers or the rest of the field when it comes to where he signs on the dotted line?
100% the rest of the field. I honestly don't think that they're obviously in play because every team is in play, but I would choose maybe 3 or 4 other teams before I think I would choose the Dodgers. If I'm just thinking along the lines of or putting myself in Roki Sasaki's shoes. I understand everybody kind of wants to join that team right now just because of what they've built, what they have, coming. But I think I'd put the Padres above them. I think I'd put the Yankees above them. I think I might even put the Cubs above them. So I'm not on like Dodgers or nothing. And this is one of the most unique. I mean, we saw it with Shohei, but I don't think people really appreciated it enough. And now that we have like an example of getting a guy to come over here in his prime, young dude, basically for nothing, for your pool money, and then going through this. Like, this is so much different than any other free agent that's available right now. He literally can go to any team. Any team can afford this guy, which is kind of crazy. We don't see that too often in regular free agency deals. So to answer your question, I'm taking the field.
So he has apparently met with the Dodgers, Padres, Cubs, Yankees, Mets, Rangers, and Giants. Well, no, he didn't meet with everybody.
The Blue Jays, I think, just got a meeting as well. Like, he's just going, baby.
Okay, but it's been less than 10, it sounds like, is the number of teams that he's met with in person. Doesn't mean that he can't sign with everybody else, because, as you mentioned, it's not a dollars and cents thing here. Yeah, I'll take the field, too. I suppose the bigger question is, where is it best for baseball that he signs?
I don't think it's best for baseball if he signs with the Dodgers. I think I'll say that.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you think it's for a team that is already competitive, but maybe he's the difference maker? Like, he could sign with San Diego, whom the Dodgers told us they felt like was their biggest threat. Is it best if he signs with one of the New York teams, who we both expect to be in this thing throughout? Is it best if he signs with a Cubs team who has finished 10 games behind Milwaukee in the division, But here they've added Kyle Tucker in the offseason. They already had a decent rotation. Maybe he pushes them to the division championship.
So selfishly, I think, well, not selfishly, if we're just writing a script for the season, I think it would be awesome to see him go to the Padres and match up against Ohtani. We already know about that rivalry. You just mentioned the Dodgers were, scared of the Padres. I think if I had my way and overall think about for the benefit of Major League Baseball, I would put him on like an up and coming team, not an already established team. I think I'd put him. I think the Royals would be like so fun to see him go to the Royals and pair up with a Bobby Witt and a Vinny and just see where they could go. Imagine like Roki and Sal working together. Like that's just good entertainment right there. The Orioles would be a team I'd be interested in him going. Like one of those teams that like needs to take that next step. I think that would be in my opinion, the best for baseball.
Like I would hate it if he ended up in a place like Seattle, and I love the city. And I think if he signed in a place like there, it would allow them to trade one of their younger arms and go get a bat that would really help them.
They can already do that, by the way.
Yes, they can. But it would even put more in the forefront. But it feels like with Seattle, like when you live on the Eastern time zone, and I have lived over there before, you've got your baseball, and then sometimes you watch stuff out west. Maybe you'll catch a Dodger game or
it's
now
impossible,
a Padre.
Dude.
But Seattle feels like it's on a different continent, their baseball. Like, wait, the Mariners are still playing up there. When they're not at the forefront of the baseball brain, you kind of forget. Like, oh, yeah, Seattle, they're that cute team up there in the Pacific Northwest. They feel like they're in an entirely different time zone.
I think that's just the East Coast in general. It's if you ever lived on the East Coast, you understand how hard it is to watch West Coast sports.
Right.
Like
yeah.
Games starting at 10 o'clock you can't do it. I never understood when people said East Coast bias until I lived on the East Coast. I'm like, of course there's bias. You don't see the teams ever. You don't even like you're saying, you don't even know they exist. So
I think that there's part of me that wouldn't mind seeing him go to the Cubs.
Cubs would be great.
I think he could be a difference maker. I love the fact that they still play day games during the week. I think he and Shota would be a phenomenal pairing, a ton of fun. Like Shota, who immersed himself in the culture over here and everything about it. I don't know if I should be calling him Shota or Mike, depending on his coffee order, but like he just ingrained himself. And that's not exactly Roki's personality from what we're hearing. I mean, his agent, Joe Wolf, even came out and said he's a very quiet kid that doesn't have a lot of trust with the media and all that sort of stuff. And I think that Shota could be a huge buffer for him in Chicago and just kind of let him pitch and be his mouthpiece if he needed one.
This is why he's so different than any other free agent. If let's just say he's like, dude, I want to pitch on the Pirates. I want to go pitch with Paul Skeens and my guy JJ and Keller out there and form this formidable rotation. He could, and it would force the Pirates' hand, right? If he said, I'm coming to you guys, they'd say yes. And then what they'd have to, right? They would have to make additions. It's fascinating. I don't think he ends up with the Dodgers. I don't.
Okay. You want to just make a prediction and we'll move on?
Padres.
I'll say Cubs, just for fun.
Okay.
Most arbitration numbers settled before the deadline. I believe that was last Thursday, but one that was not up in Boston with Jarren Duran, who had a fantastic 2024. He reportedly wants $4 million. Boston, their number was $3.5 million, so a $500,000 difference. Here is CEO Sam Kennedy on the stalemate.
You know, you have to make all the pieces fit, and Brez has toughest job in the building, and so it's a necessary part of roster construction. It's how our industry works in terms of making all the pieces fit together. So it's something that we have to do, and but it's not something that I don't think the front office or the players or their agents look forward to in any way, shape, or form.
You were making funny faces throughout that. Why?
The toughest job in the building is the general manager. I don't agree with that, but okay.
All right. So I guess big picture here, is it a bad idea to possibly tick off your most complete player? Or do you just say, that's business?
I do think it's just business. Am I in favor of them going to, this arbitration case where, one side's telling you you're not worth this amount of money, and basically they kind of have to bash you in this process? Is it worth 500 grand? Like, probably not, especially to an organization like the Red Sox, but like they have to establish, the way they do business. A lot of teams kind of have started to do that, where it's like, all right, if we can't agree, like we're going to, like after a certain date you file, we're going to an arbitration case, and some teams just do that. I think players understand that that's a possibility. It's not best case scenario. I think avoiding the arbitration process, getting a number done is far more beneficial for the long-term relationship than going to an arbitration case. Again, I don't think it's like end of the world, but we have seen guys like Corbin Burns and recent memory and other guys go through this process and just get absolutely almost like sick of an organization. So that relationship that they've built, through the minor leagues up until this beautiful year he's had, that kind of gets soured because, you got people who most likely aren't even part of the organization speaking on the organization's behalf, ripping you apart, telling you things you don't do well. Again, I don't think it's the end of the world, but they shouldn't do this. They should not do this. Teams should actively avoid going to arbitration cases.
Well, he's got 2 more years of arbitration, so maybe this is just kind of the appetizer for the contract issues. You made the point about Corbin Burns. He actually came out. Remember, he did an interview where he was pissed off. He was pissed off about it, and then what ends up happening, he gets traded before the last year of his deal. Like, that seemed like an unsalvageable relationship, and I don't know. It certainly doesn't sound like it's ever going to get to that point. Breslow went on NESN, and by the way, I love the way the Red Sox did their whole meet and greet with their fan fest. Like, the players are all available. They're all on NESN. They ask tough questions to management as well. Like, I thought all that stuff was really, really good for Red Sox fans to be able to listen. And I think a lot of other major league teams can learn a little bit about how the Red Sox did it over the weekend. But let's get back to the point at hand. The one thing I think that makes it interesting, and they asked both Breslow and Sam Kennedy about this, is that Jarren Duran has not shied away from the fact that he has dealt with mental health issues and he has dealt with confidence issues. You just got this guy unlocked. I mean, he gave you an unbelievable 2024. And I'm not saying this will happen because I don't know enough about it. But there's the possibility that when you walk into that room, if it goes to arbitration and you hear your boss taking shots at you, because it is not pleasant. Here's the reason that Jarren Duran doesn't deserve the extra $500,000, that he has to sit through that and listen to it. And who knows how he's going to process it. Some people will come out and say, oh, Rose, come on, it's not that big a deal. We don't know. We don't know what he has dealt with. But he has come out and he's worn a shirt that says F him. That he admits he's dealt with confidence issues. Do you really want to rock the boat for, as you said, $500,000 in this case?
Yeah, I don't like the process. I don't think it is, conducive to a working relationship. But it is like
this is a
specifically for him. Yeah, I agree with it. It's even more so. You should avoid it even more so than maybe another player. Again, I guys understand this is a possibility, and guys understand that it is business. So you have to go in there saying, look, again, this is probably a third-party team coming in to do this arbitration case, most likely. You have to just wear it. But again, I've not just Corbin Burns. I mean, talk to guys that I played with specifically that have gone through the process. Like, it's crazy. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they should figure this out.
Yeah. And they still have time. The deadline last week was for filing for arbitration. It doesn't mean that the sides can't continue to talk. And
some teams do file and trial, but I don't think the Red Sox are one of them.
Okay. So we'll see how this whole thing goes. Are you ready to optimize your nutrition this year? That's the question I want to ask, because Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well very easy. They are dietitian approved. They're ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes, so you can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. Here's what I love. 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week. It's very easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. So you could choose from preferences like Calorie Smart or Protein Plus or even Keto. Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfast, grab-and-go snacks, and even more add-ons. So reach your goals this year with ingredients that you can trust and convenience that simply cannot be beat. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/today50off. Use that code today50off to get half off your first box plus free shipping. The code once again is today50off at factormeals.com/today50off. You're going to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box, and your belly and your wellness will say thank you. All right, we continue on. The reason I'm wearing a Blue Jays cap. Y'all did something. Yes. Reliever market getting going. Jeff Hoffman, most recently of the Phillies. 3 years, $33 million. You may or may not remember, Hoffman was the 9th pick by Toronto in 2014. He was eventually traded to Colorado in the Tulo deal. Bounced around after that. He was released a little bit. He eventually became an all-star reliever with the Phillies. But 3 years, $33 million for a guy in his early 30s. Does it feel like a massive overpay, or do you like this move?
No, I don't feel like that's an overpay at all. You're talking $11 million a year. Look at the past 2 years, what he's been able to do. Does the fit make sense? I mean, yeah, Toronto needed bullpen help, Chris. You know they needed the bullpen help, but we always are asking, what direction are the Blue Jays going? Are they just blowing in the wind? Do they have a direction? Are they just floating out there? I don't really know. I don't think this is an overpay. I think if you look around the league, what do premier relievers get? This is, I mean, the 3 years, I guess you could say, is not a lot of guys are going to get 3 years or higher, but the actual AAV of it, I don't think is an overpay at all. We're talking about a guy that was in, go look at his Savant page, 96th percentile in chase and whiff and K, and then 91st in expected ERA, expected batting average. I mean, the guy's, he has stats to back this up. And I think that when you're looking at, $33 million is not a lot to commit to a guy that's going to be able to possibly help you close out games or at worst be one of your highest leverage relievers. I like this deal for them. I like this deal for anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we talked about it when we have discussed the future of this franchise. One of the things that they needed to do was for 2025 was kind of revamp that bullpen. And so why not get, a piece that has been exceptional the last 2 years? You're talking about a strikeout rate that is top 11 among all relievers in baseball. He threw almost 120 innings over these 2 years with an ERA under 2.3. Now, the lasting memory is what the Mets did to him, and they dropped 6 runs on him in an inning and a third in that playoff series, and he looked horrible. And Philadelphia had all sorts of problems. But I do like that move for Toronto. It doesn't change the fact that I'm still wondering what the hell they're doing. Last week on this show, it was a week ago, where I was like, sell, sell, sell. And now they're bringing it in. So I can like the idea for a team that needed bullpen help, but I'm still not going to change my mindset on where the hell this franchise is just because they've added an all-star reliever. I'm not going to do that.
It would change if they signed Vladdy to a long-term deal.
Yeah, but even with that, does that make your team better instantly?
No, but it would
still have Vladdy.
It would signal that you're going to continue to add players. They'd have to continue to add players.
But adding players has not really been their problem.
Well,
it just hasn't been the right mix of players.
The right players.
And the players.
Yes, the right players.
The players have been good players. We said it last week that just for some reason the pieces don't fit here.
They need bullpen help. They need more offensive help. To completely turn this thing around. And we've talked about this a lot, so we've kind of thought about their direction a lot. To actually turn this thing around and to be kind of who I think a lot of people think the Blue Jays can be. They'd have to spend significant amounts of money and really dive into free agency.
But they have.
Without that, it's started over.
I know. And they have whiffed. They have whiffed on the biggest names out there. Heck, it was a year ago. We're following a frickin' plane from Southern California to Toronto, and it's a dude from Shark Tank. Like this is where Blue Jays fans have been over the last few years. But they have spent money. They gave 9-figure deals to George Springer and Kevin Gossman, and they extended Barrios, and they've done some good things. It's just it hasn't worked.
It's not like this team hasn't won baseball games. It hasn't really turned into anything. In 2021, they won 91 games, playoffs in 2022, playoffs in 2023. Now, did they get swept in the wild card round? Yes. Missed the playoffs last year. It hasn't been like a complete disaster, but I think a lot of us were expecting a lot more out of the Blue Jays, and now they're at the point where they have to make the decision on Vlad and Bo. That's why I think Blue Jays fans, some of them understand where we're coming from. Other fans are like, hey, man, we're piling on a little bit too much. But now at this point where they have to make the decision between Vladdy, Bo, what they're going to do, I think it's fair to talk about them in this light. Like, yeah, they need to really pick a direction and go with it.
Okay, I will finish with this. Would you be more surprised if the Blue Jays hit the dumper again, like they did a season ago, where they were nowhere close to the playoff in the second half? Or would you be more surprised if they were a wild card team?
AL's pretty weak. I think the chances of those things are pretty similar, to be honest with you. That's crazy to say. That's kind of where they're at in their organizational timeline. I wouldn't be surprised at either of those, Chris. I would not be surprised if things turned around, and they'd have to keep their players, obviously, which would be interesting for them to do. They have to go sign Santander. If they made a wild card, I wouldn't be surprised. And if they finish fourth in the AL East, I wouldn't be surprised. I think that's the point with the Blue Jays is it is kind of up in the air. They have a lot of these decisions they have to make, and they have to make them soon.
Well, everybody knows I've been on their bandwagon the previous couple of years.
You have.
I am going to try and throw some reverse mojo your way. I would be more surprised if they were a wild card team. So there you go. Toronto, you're welcome. Trying to set the tone early on January 13th in 2025. Yeah. Okay. So this is interesting. We do want to get this one note in before we move on from Hoffman. That this is from Mark Bowman, who I believe works for MLB.com. Had a potential deal that was nixed when he failed a physical with the Braves medical staff. There was also a report floating out there that the Orioles had offered more money, I believe 3 years, $40 million, but had a shoulder issue that reportedly crept up, and Toronto was okay with signing him. Now, just put this a little bit in perspective. For years, I know that the Orioles were very conservative with their medical staff, that they wouldn't sign off on a lot of free agents because, hey, we saw this. I don't know where that sits these days, but the Orioles were always known for kind of being in that boat.
So, I knew about the Orioles. I did not know. I don't think that was public about the Braves until.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Just now.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. It's something to listen. I hope he checks out okay. I hope there's nothing wrong with him. There's nothing worse than signing a free agent and all of a sudden guy goes to shit. I mean, Lucas Giolito told us that, last year that there wasn't anything. There's no feeling he has felt worse as a major league player than right after he signed a 2-year deal worth almost $40 million with Boston, and he blows out in spring training and cannot help them. He said that the amount of guilt that he felt because he couldn't be there for his new organization is unlike anything else. Jeff Hoffman, feel well, go out there, go dominate. We hope you're okay. No question. All right. Speaking of reports, this coming from Forbes magazine, that Shohei Ohtani brought in $70 million in revenue to the Dodgers last season, just based on new business relationships, mostly formulated with a dozen Japanese companies. Is it possible LA actually got a team-friendly deal when they signed Shohei to a $700 million contract?
I mean, I think the way we have to phrase this question is, if it wasn't deferred, will we still consider it a team-friendly contract? Because it's clearly a team-friendly contract because of the amount, 98% of this money is deferred. It's already team-friendly because of that. I think the question has to be, if it was $700 million for 10 years, $70 million a year, would it still be team friendly? And that, the fact that I have to think about that is crazy. It shows the power of Shohei Ohtani. I mean, he transcends baseball. He does. And so I'm answering my new question, and I think I would say yes. I think he is the guy that you can say that about in baseball. I think that he is going to be considered the best baseball player of all time. You already won a World Series because of him. He's bringing in this additional revenue, which we knew he was going to bring in. That was not a surprise to anybody. It's the reason that he can also defer that money. Is not only is he bringing the Dodgers endorsements, he's obviously getting them for himself. He's all over, the place with his New Balance commercial, which is awesome. Can you drop the kicks, New Balance? You're wasting an opportunity. My goodness. It is a team friendly deal, even without the deferrals, Chris.
Yeah. $700 million. Yes. And I mentioned that last year when he signed it. I just felt like business-wise, that's why when people were talking about Soto and he can bring as much to a franchise as Shohei Ohtani. No, he can't.
Not on the field or off the field, no.
Nobody can. This is one of one when it comes to the pipeline between continents. He just opened things up. Vinny Pasquantino told us this when he played for Team Italy in the World Baseball Classic. Remember, they made it to the Final 8, and they played over in the Tokyo Dome. And he said you couldn't go 3 feet over there without seeing something Shohei. So just imagine that, who is the biggest megastar that we've got in this country in terms of endorsements and interest outside of what they do for a living, just athlete-wise? Is it? I mean,
God, that's a good question.
I suppose Patrick Mahomes is on a ton of commercials. LeBron still. Yeah. Those are the guys. I think you have to multiply that by 100, it seems like, to get where Shohei is in Japan. And so they're going to have these business relationships for the length of the contract. And as long as he continues to be the exceptional player that he is, which we don't see that ending anytime soon. And now you're going to add the pitching component back into the equation this year. The mania could be out of this world.
I don't think Patrick Mahomes and Shohei are on the same level. I think the only one, I think it's LeBron and Shohei. I think those two names you could mention as far as people playing in the States that have that international or worldly appeal. LeBron's got, the basketball is very worldly. It's huge in China, as we know. LeBron is crushing it. Mm-hmm. Shohei's on that level.
I don't know if we've been doing the pop-up questions as of late, because Dan's been working real hard on the graphic look of our show. But I would pop one up that would say, if the Dodgers had to pay Shohei the full $700 over the first 10 years, is the contract low for Shohei?
You answered the question basically in the question. They made $70 million off the field because of Shohei. That alone pays for his salary, and they get the greatest player in the game.
Yeah, and I just don't see that falling off anytime soon. Let us know what your thoughts are on this deal down there in the comments section. I suppose the only people that would compare to him worldwide are soccer stars.
Soccer players, yeah.
Yeah, and that's about it. And I'm sure some of those people
maybe some F1 drivers. I feel like we don't give them enough credit either.
That's true. That world has a lot of dough attached to it, but it's a very, very small number. You're probably talking about on one hand.
In the baseball YouTube show business, it's you and I.
Oh, yeah. Obviously. Yeah, I mean, they can't keep this show down. The offseason numbers have been, thanks to you out there, not because of us,
guys,
but because of you.
A little bit because of us.
But you can think that. Once again, Trevor needs some positive affirmation. So just throw the clapping hands for him in there. If
I am one of those guys that, some guys need a kick in the ass. Some guys need a pat on the butt.
You do.
Pat on the butt guy.
I'll have to talk to Gardy about how he handled you little delicate flower.
He was not delicate.
I'm sure he wasn't.
First. Then I think he realized what I needed.
That's beautiful. We still have a little bit more fun to go, but first, this word from the delicate flower himself.
Yes, Baseball Today brought to you in part by DraftKings. Football fans, it is playoff time. That's why I'm here. We got some exciting games to look forward to, and you can get in on all of the playoff action right now with our partners at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, they're offering all new customers $200 in bonus bets instantly after betting just $5 when you use our code baseball today. Do you love the thrill of live betting? I know I do. DraftKings has you covered. Bet live on in-progress games as they happen. Make watching the game that much more exciting. You got to do it. It's a lot of fun. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code baseball today. Bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's code baseball today. All one word, only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
All right, before we get out of here, always fun to scour social media to check out what our favorite baseball players are doing in the offseason. I mean, if they're not coming up with a Baking with Bryce segment, you are missing out in the marketing world. Here is your two-time NL MVP at work in the kitchen.
Banana bread. Start by some butter. Sugar. I do coconut sugar. Just no refined sugars or anything like that. 1.5 cup of flour. We use Kamut flour. Salt. I use Celtic salt. If anybody cares. A little bit of chocolate chips too. All right, banana bread is ready. Let's get it. Looks pretty good. I'm fired up. Let's go.
Oh my God. What's your favorite part?
First of all, I love banana bread. Love banana bread. So like Bryce, we're homies. Like, come on, invite me over. My favorite part by far is how he's listing his ingredients, and it's like just not regular. I don't use regular salt. Like I'm using Celtic salt or kaput flour. All these things I think is incredible. I was actually wondering, he was using some regular ass chocolate chips. That's not you, Bryce. Like you need to get some special chocolate chips to throw in there. For the next video, that's my advice to you.
70% cocoa or whatever it is. It's
just straight from this specific mountain region or something.
So he won me over on the chocolate chips because we put that in our banana bread as well. When he threw the bananas on top, I was like, this is going to be interesting. And then I see it at the end, and I think I'm in.
It doesn't look as good as I think he thinks it looks, but I think it'll taste good. That nice little banana slice there. Also, the butter on the end. Hopefully, it was salted butter. Oh, that's just. I need that right now, Chris.
Yeah, and he's putting all these out, and he's doing all sorts of different things. I'm curious about the baking because I am a baker. I am a big baker. I'll throw anything in that oven, and I think in part because I love to lick the bowl. I really do. I sit there. And I'm that guy, not before it goes into, so I'm not contaminating it. When it's done and there's a little bit of stuff left on the bowl, I will sit there and I look like a dog. I'm freaking sticking my head in the bowl. Yeah, I got a lot of.
I will say this. I'm sure a lot of people have experienced this. In my household, if bananas are going bad and like say like I wanted to like throw them out, we're like cleaning out, like got some new bananas. Olivia will not let me throw those bananas out. She's always like, we'll make banana bread. Yeah. And then we don't make banana bread. So I got a bunch of frozen black bananas in my freezer all the time.
Wait, why would you freeze black bananas so you can eventually make banana bread?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
The minute they're frozen, I'm out. No way.
Dude, trust me. I mean, I wish you would just make the banana bread.
Right, just make it.
Maybe I got to take control, Chris.
Yes, you do. I love it. I'll take the banana bread out and do it. That's my mother-in-law's recipe.
Where do you get Celtic salt? I need that. Like, I can't just have regular salt now that I've heard that there's Celtic salt. Pink Himalayan salt, I'm out. Like, give me the Celtic salt.
When I hear Celtic salt, I think of, like, Viking ships. What is Celtic salt?
Who knows?
Hey, Bryce, whatever it is, keep it going. We'll probably be showing, like, Bryce videos once a week here.
Ooh, I have a question. This is a very Chris Rose Baseball Today. Mm-hmm. For his next recipe, what do we want him to bake?
Throw it in there. Maybe we should throw that on our social media, do a poll, and then send it to Bryce. We could do. Can
I just throw out what I want him to make? Mm-hmm. Carrot cake.
Are you a carrot cake guy?
I love carrot cake.
Oh,
like
God.
Walnuts in them. Oh,
no.
I could pass on the raisins or not. It doesn't really matter to me. But give me some.
I'm out.
Give me some carrot cake, Bryce. Come on.
Love you, but I'm out on carrot cake. Sorry. And I am a dessert whore. I'm just going to tell you. If there was a dessert eating contest in the Olympics, I definitely would have been a 4 to 6 time participant from this country. That's how good I am with dessert eating, as you can tell. All right, that'll do it. Be safe. Enjoy the Rams-Vikings game tonight out in Arizona. And get back to Southern California safely, whenever that is.
That's why I wore this hat today. Give the Twins fans a little bit of love. And then tonight, I'm out, Minnesota. It's me versus you.
Wow. Ouch, ouch, ouch. You won't be their favorite son anymore. Won't be. All right. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you later this week on Baseball Today. There you go.
Clean and crisp, dog.